Hey, part 3-ish of our Savage 340 project. Definitely getting about the same groups, but things are improved. Now I end up having to pull the barrel out and do a little bit of barrel work on the face. I did also change these screws from the slotted ones to the Allen key ones. 8 gauge 40, 6 gauge 40, except for this one which is 4mm because the damn thing stripped out on me, so it is what it is. It looks alright in there. Now, the trigger work. I did have to think of an idea. We have a look here. You can see, use my scribe. See here, that's the trigger in there. It's cocked now. And that's the safety lever. Now, when the safety's on, there's actually quite a fair bit of play. And you can see on the sear there how much play there is. Now these, oh, excuse me, are not super hard. So that tab there isn't quite at a 90-degree angle where it should be, and you can actually get in there with a flat bladed screwdriver. I know it sounds like a bubba thing to do, but you can actually bend that tab at its tip inside further in, and it takes all the play out, which I've done on this one. I'll see, I'll cock him, I'll put the safety on, and you can see here, once it's on there now, there is no movement at all on the trigger. Because there's no movement in the safety, trigger movement and the safety, I was actually able to, that sear engagement in there, come on focus, oh bloody hell, I'm going to get seasick with this damn thing. That sear engagement, the amount of that, I was able to reduce that by at least 50%, like I thought I could. You know, once it's engaged, all that play is completely removed. And yeah, now this spring here is also the spring, trigger spring. The original spring is here out of this other rifle. I don't want to focus again, does it? The thickness of the wire is 35 thou. I replaced it with some 27 thou spring wire, and I've now got a very nice sort of 4.5 pounds, which is what this one was and that one was. I've now got a very nice crisp, very clean let off of 2.25 pounds. I've literally halved the trigger pull weight, and of course not going to go any safeties on, which is what it's meant to do. Safety off. Yeah, and can't do anything about the over travel because you need that for the bolt release. But it's very crisp, very easy to pull, very easy to concentrate and stay on target now. Well, that's the little trick there. You can, like I said, get a bit of light. That little tab, it's in there. We can actually bend that in to take all that slop out. You can probably see a bit of that angle there. Don't know if I can get a bit of a torch in there, maybe. I'll give you a bit better view of that. There you go. You see how it's not at 90 degrees? When you bend it at exactly 90 degrees, it takes all of that slack out, which means you can actually reduce your sear engagement and your pull. Yeah, the spring worked really well. I was real happy with that. Obviously the sear engagement worked well. One thing I did have to do, because these triggers are very soft, obviously the wire, it's got so much of travel in it, is I had to case harden the sear surfaces of the engagement of the sear. And one of the other things I did too while I had the trigger out, you can see here where it's been pressed, got burrs on the back, burrs on the front. This one has been completely polished off. Focus. You can see all the burrs removed, nice and smooth. She's been oil blackened after case hardening. So that worked out real well, and I'm really pleased with that. So yes, you can do a trigger job on these. You can alter the safety on them to take out that slack. You can reduce the sear engagement to give you a better feel, and you can replace that spring in there to actually reduce the actual trigger weight. So sear engagement adjusted, trigger weight can be adjusted. Now, the other thing I had to do with this particular one, I actually had to scallop the back of the bolt out. I don't know if you can see that there, because it was just, oh, there we go, just starting to engage in that, and it was a bit hard to remove it from the action. So I scalloped that out, and just to clear that scope, which is good, which is what I wanted. I'll try this one-handed. Remove the bolt, which comes out real easy now. And the other thing I did was made an alteration to the safety extractor. You can see it there. I built it up with some weld, reshaped it, and what we have now is still control round feed. So I did have to remove the barrel and take a little bit of a scallop out of the barrel face to allow for, focus your mongrel, to allow for the, you see there, much better control, much better grip, and it works really well. I've got, let me see, I'll get that in there. You can see there how it sits nicely in there. Plenty of, but I've got, when you look there, try and get more of the light. Come on, focus your mongrel. It engages quite a lot more of the rim area. So it feeds and fires and cycles beautifully and extracts perfectly. The reason being, we have a look at this bolt. I'm going to put you down for a minute. So quick second. This is real difficult till you're doing things with one hand. I don't know how some of you guys do it, to be honest with you. But anyway, here we go. Here we go. All right. You see how, there we are. Come on, focus. There we go. That little tab in the middle there, you can see, it looks like a T. Got the taper at the top. Oh, come on. Taper at the top. There we go. That little tab is all there is engaging the rim of the cartridge case. You see there, just that tiny little bit. And of course these older rifles, they've getting worn. It might have been good when they were new, but it's only punched out from the other side to make that little tab. When it works, but if you're going to convert to K-horn or something with a bit more pressure, and like this one is going to get the treatment as well, as the other one did. You can see the angle where it's got to rotate on the left hand side there, how it angles outwards of the bolt, so it can go into the taper on the barrel. You look at the one I've altered with the case in place. You can see how much more extraction there is. And you look at that. It's a lot more surface area engaging. Nearly 3 times the amount of surface area. And you look at this one. Put this cartridge in. I mean, it holds it, but you know, it's not as good as it could be. Come on. You see there on the right, and how it's tapered out to the there's a lot more clearance there it was than it's on mine. Need a little bit of clearance, otherwise when it angles up under the coming out of the magazine and angling up for its feed, it won't actually go in properly if it's too tight. It won't flip in underneath. But you can see how tiny amount that is holding there. When you look at the end there, a bit better light compared to what I've now got. It's like 3 times the amount of extraction force. So yeah, it can be done. You've got to be very careful, of course, not to have the heat flow to the rest of the, because it is spring steel, so you have to isolate it and not allow the heat to flow. But yeah, well, that's part 3. If anybody's out there and wants some advice, just shoot me a message and I'll yeah, have a bit of a play with the golden oldies, and yeah, working through these older style triggers. And still got the original barrel on there with the original sights. That seems to grip all right. Now I can work up a decent load for it and see how we go in part 4 of the load development. Cheers.